What's up guys, Ian Sandusky from Let's Machine back here again for Practical Machinist. Before we get started, make sure you like and subscribe below if you want to see more videos. Let's get into it. Okay guys, so today on Practical Machinist Shop Talk, we're going to be talking about tips to get you hired. I know I've made some videos before on the actual hiring process from an employer standpoint, but you know, with COVID hopefully coming to an end soon and a lot of plants opening back up, the economy being a little bit weird, I know some of you guys are going to be looking for new gigs. I know some of you guys might be looking for gigs for the first time. So we're going to talk a little bit about things that can help you get hired and things to consider when you're trying to get hired. So the first tip I have for you guys, and the first thing I would kind of point out here is, no matter what industry you're in, but especially this one, it does kind of matter who you know. Networking is very important. Just as a quick fact, you know, if I have 5 guys here at my shop right now, all of them came from one guy who I hired originally, who I found through a friend. He was a friend of someone else I knew. I got him, and then everybody I've hired since have been people he has known from other shops and has worked with, has given a good reference, and been able to find when they become available. It's not nepotism, it's not hiring people preferentially, it's being able to hire people that you already get some real background knowledge on. I haven't worked at any other shops. I have worked at this shop and this shop only. So I don't have a pool of guys that I can go and say, hey, do you know what? I worked with this guy 10 years ago at this place. I wonder what he's doing. So I really rely on my guys who have worked at different plants and different factories or whatever to be able to say, hey, listen, actually, you know what? We're looking for a guy. I know a guy who does this. Why don't I bring him in and we can talk? My hiring rate and my hiring success from doing that has been much, much higher and much more successful than just, you know, the slush pile of resumes. Have I found good guys for resumes? Of course. The point is that, you know, you guys who are in trade school, you guys who are currently working somewhere, really utilize your network. You know, make sure you keep in contact with people because you never know what opportunity is going to come up that might not even get listed, you know. Maybe a place is hiring and they haven't actually even opened it up to open applications yet, and your buddy works there and he says, you know what, actually I know Ian over at Lakewood, he's looking for a new gig and I think he'd be really good for it. And you can get in some really amazing situations that way that you may not even be able to find if you're just, you know, cold applying to job offerings. The second thing, don't apply for jobs that you don't really want. You know, I've mentioned this before in some of my how to hire people videos, but one thing that really stands out to me in a, I wouldn't say negative light, but definitely something that makes me question, is a resume that has a long list of places someone has worked for 3 to 6 months or 1 year at a time. Listen, I know that in this industry, realistically, the way you get more money consistently and quicker is to move from plant to plant. That's how you learn more. You know, very few people start at one place and work 30 years there. That's fine. I'm not saying you shouldn't hop from job to job as, you know, time dictates. What I am advising against, and I don't know why I see a lot of this right now, but I'll get a resume and someone will have worked at this place for 3 months, this place for 6 months, this place for 6 months. All that says to me is either that person was hired on because they interviewed well, but at the end of the day, they just couldn't deliver, or they are having issues getting along with people where they are. A big part of why I look for when I'm hiring people is someone who not only can do the job, which is obviously, you know, the most important thing, but it can be very damaging to have someone on the floor who can't seem to get along with other people or can't, you know, ask questions or can't whatever. That dynamic can completely ruin a shop, and I've seen it happen. I've had to get rid of people because of those reasons, because they're too disruptive to be part of my team. You know, a culture fit is a very important thing. So when I see that on a resume, it does make me worry about that. It does also make me worry that, you know, if you, let's say for whatever reason, they were not the person who left, well, if they're always the person getting laid off, how valuable are they really? And you know what, guys, like, I understand in this economy and COVID and everything that's going on, some guys will get into a job and as soon as you think things are going well, you get laid off. It happens. If it's already happened to you, you know what, unfortunately, just roll with it. Make sure you're upfront about it. When you interview, I would probably bring it up and address it head on because it does kind of raise red flags. But really, don't apply for jobs you don't want. If you didn't really want that job and you were just going to check it out, at the end of the day, it couldn't end up hurting your chances getting better gigs moving forward, because people don't want to invest in someone who's only going to be there for 3 to 4 months. I would rather not hire somebody than get somebody for 2 months, dump money, time, and effort into training them to have them leave. Third point is your application process, especially when you're interviewing somewhere like here, really is going to depend on your interview. Everybody puts a lot of effort into making their resumes look really good and really focusing on getting that resume good. You should focus just as much on being able to interview well as your resume. One thing that is very, very difficult to do when someone comes in is find out what they know. The more you can tell them about what you know, your experience, what you're good at, the better. You know, when I have guys in here to interview, and I ask, so what's your experience with Haas lathes, for instance? And they say, oh, some. That tells me nothing. That tells me probably they don't know much about them. If you can say, yeah, you know what, I don't have a lot of experience with Haas lathes particularly, but I have been using this kind of controller on this lathe. You know, we did a lot of parts between, and so on and so forth. Being able to elaborate on that and communicate, you know, what you really did and what you know is going to help you a lot more than a resume that has all your qualifications on it. Because guess what, guys? Anybody can write a list of qualifications, true or not. The other thing is being open in that interview about things you don't know. If I have somebody come in here and they tell me all these great things about themselves, that's awesome. You know what? We always want to make ourselves look good. But if I have somebody come in here and tells me 5 good things about themselves, and not even a bad thing, but saying, do you know what? I don't have a lot of experience milling titanium. I know you guys do a lot of titanium. I would love to learn about it. I don't have a lot of experience with it, but you know, I think I can pick it up. That's gonna make me wanna hire you more, because it shows you can identify a weakness you have without, you know, oh, I work too hard, throwing out something like that. It shows that you're actually you're interested in your own growth and development. So I think that's really important. Finally, and the most important thing, guys, and I hate to say it, and it has to be there, do not lie, do not embellish, do not put things on your resume or say you can do things that you cannot do. This is a very technical trade. This is not a job where you can fake it till you make it, and all putting things on your resume that you can't actually do, or exaggerating. You know, if you say you're an expert at Mastercam and you have you're a perfect fusion person or whatever, and I bring you in and you can't program, I mean, A, that's on me because I didn't test you properly, but B, that's not going to get you anywhere. Lying about your qualifications or exaggerating your qualifications is only going to reflect poorly on you when you're brought on to fill a role and you cannot fill that role. You know, very few places hire just general people because we need to put people on the floor. All of us tend to hire because we need to fill a role. We choose people based on, they have this experience, I need a guy with this kind of experience. Perfect, he's got it, let's put him on. When I put him on and it turns out that experience was embellished and he doesn't maybe have as much experience with that as he said, all it does is throw me back to the drawing board. It wasted my time. I'm not gonna give you a good reference for it, you know. It doesn't get you anywhere. And I definitely understand the position where you wanna make yourself look as good as possible because it is a competitive job market and you want to get hired. Lying or embellishing is only going to make that process more difficult for you, especially if you're in, you know, an area like this. You know, I'm in Newmarket, Ontario. There's only so many shops. Word gets around. You know, I have guys call me for references, and while I definitely don't give poor references, if they say, hey, did they work at your shop? If I tell them, you know what, I brought them on and they were here for X amount of time, the other guys know what that means. You know, that kind of is what it is. So all I'm going to say, guys, is be very, very clear and concise with your experience. Be honest about what you do. Make yourself look good, but please, please, for your own sake and to help you get hired, do not lie, do not embellish on your resumes. Okay, guys? Oh, and lastly, on your resumes, I don't know how this started. This is just a side note. It's a weird thing. Maybe this is just since I've been to school. I don't see the point of listing school projects on your resume. This has been a huge thing lately. Everyone I get right now seems to have all their school projects on their resume. It's interesting, guys, but if you've taken a PMT course, I'm gonna assume you've done that. You know, save the printer ink, I guess. Maybe some of you guys out there who hire love it. I don't see the point in it, but you know what, if it makes you happy, do it, but just know that that is not important, okay? thank you very much for watching, guys. I hope this has been helpful. In the comments below, if you are a hiring person, I would like you to comment with things that you look for when you're hiring to help, you know, each other get hired here. And if you were someone who's been in the trade for a long time, maybe list some of the things that helped you get hired. Because, you know, this is all about helping each other. There's more than enough work out there for everyone to be done. So let's help each other get some jobs and find some good stuff, okay? Thank you very much for watching, guys. Make sure you like and subscribe below if you want to see more videos. You have a great day. Take care.